Tartaria refers to a purported ancient civilization, often linked to elaborate architectural remnants. Proponents of the mud flood theory argue that a global catastrophe buried these structures under layers of mud. They suggest that this event erases history, hinting at a hidden past. Critics view such theories skeptically, relying on traditional archaeological evidence, yet the allure of Tartaria captivates many, fueling endless speculation. Tartaria and the mud flood theory. Tartaria, or the Tartarian Empire, is a concept that has gained attention through alternative history and conspiracy theories. Proponents claim it was a large advanced civilization covering much of Asia, Europe, and parts of North America. According to this theory, mainstream historians have hidden or erased Tartaria from history, leaving behind only cryptic references on old maps and architectural relics. The theory centers on unexplained anomalies in historical records, architecture, and technological achievements that some believe are out of place for their time. One of the key elements of the Tartarian narrative is its architecture, often referred to as Tartarian buildings. Supporters point to grand monumental structures, many from the 18th and 19th centuries, with intricate designs and advanced construction methods. They suggest these buildings belong to a lost empire, far more advanced than we've been led to believe, which was covered up or destroyed through a series of cataclysmic events. This brings us to the mud flood theory, which is closely tied to the idea of Tartaria. The mud flood theory posits that a global or near global catastrophe, referred to as the mud flood, occurred relatively recently, around the 1800s. This event allegedly buried entire cities and civilizations under layers of mud, leading to a rewriting of history. Proponents of the mud flood theory often cite buildings with buried windows or doors as evidence, suggesting these were originally at ground level, but were partially submerged due to the flood key points of the mud flood theory. Buried architecture. Enthusiasts highlight buildings with what appear to be ground floor windows and doors below street level, suggesting these were originally part of a building's primary entrance, but were later covered by a sudden influx of mud too. Photographic evidence. Photos from the late 19th century are used to show empty streets, unfinished buildings, or seemingly abandoned cities. Mud flood theorists argue these cities were repopulated or rebuilt after the disaster. Suppression of history. A central theme of the theory is that official history has been manipulated to hide the truth about Tartaria and the mud flood. According to this narrative, modern history, architecture, and technological development are incomplete, with many achievements falsely attributed to other cultures or hidden by the elite. Supporters of these ideas point to maps from the 16th to 19th centuries, which often label vast regions in northern Asia as Tartary or Tartaria. They argue these maps prove the existence of a vast empire that has since been erased from history. However, historians explain that Tartari was a catch-all term used by Europeans to describe the lands of various nomadic peoples in Central Asia, rather than a unified empire. Skeptics of the Tartaria and mud flood theories dismiss them as pseudo-historical, noting that there is little credible evidence to support such grand claims. They argue that the anomalies cited, such as buried windows or abandoned buildings, can be explained by more conventional factors like changing street levels, urban development, or natural events like landslides, without needing to invoke a global conspiracy. In conclusion, the Tartaria and mud flood theory offers an alternative interpretation of history, suggesting the existence of a hidden civilization and a forgotten disaster. Though popular in some fringe communities, mainstream historians and researchers largely reject these ideas as unfounded and speculative. Whether an intriguing mystery or simply an imaginative conspiracy, the theory continues to spark curiosity and debate.